Hello, we're Team Supreme. I'm Crystal Kassab.
I'm Rico Garcia.
I'm Courtney Meinhold.
I'm Alexandra Youssef.
And our products are Soft and Solo.
Round one was a warm-up round, period. But as a team, we wanted to make the best decisions possible. After reviewing the handbook and going through the stimulation, we purchased market research studies to gauge where our audience was at and what our consumers were wanting. We were ranked number one in share price index and volume market share, and number three in value market share, and number one in net contribution. We learned that our target market for soft were savers at 60% and shoppers at 40%. Solo was 65% shoppers and explorers were at 35%. We increased our pricing for soft while retaining our price for solo. This ended up working because we were first in SPI. After round one, our takeaways were, we learned we needed to increase the commercial team for specialty stores, and we also decided to run an R&D report to determine consumer perceptions and ideal product values.
After the first period, we not only had the survey and research studies that we bought, but we also had the results of our own work and decisions in the first period. And we figured out quickly we're in a very difficult position because we had two products that did not meet the ideal values of their target markets. Soft, which is highlighted here, had the lowest perception scores in 5 of the 6 values. That's worse than any of the other products in the market. And so that was, of concern. Do we abandon the product altogether, or do we, improve it and support it? Well, brand awareness was at 72% with both savers and shoppers at this point. And when we saw that the savers and shoppers segments were growing quite rapidly over the next few periods, we decided it would be better to take care of the products we have, continue growing their awareness, and support them with research and media and commercial teams. So in addition to growing our advertising and commercial team, we did a research project to get our specs closer to the target market ideal values. Next slide. So for the period, we targeted 70% of our soft media towards savers and 30% to shoppers. We also had a slight reduction in price. We did not go as low as the coach recommended. We wanted to preserve the value of our product and the profit margin. With Solo, we targeted 75% to shoppers, 20% to explorers, and a little bit to savers because there was some awareness and intent to buy. We did lower the price $20 there. We ended up with $46 million in revenue, 27% market share of units, lower than that with dollars, of course, because we had lower priced items. We sold 275,000 units, and we did come in second place for share price index. 81% of our sales were to savers, so we did adjust our advertising moving forward to match that. We also started studying the conjoint analysis to determine consumer perceptions and how they aligned with the product values. We did end up losing an estimated 93,000 units of potential soft sales and 23,000 units for Solo, so we knew we needed to increase our production levels moving forward.
So for period 3, our strategy for soft was to target savers at 80% and shoppers at 20%. We retained price at $234 due to improved display and processing power. Our strategy for Solo was to target shoppers at 75%, explorers at 20%, and savers at 5%, retaining your price at $320 due to improved display and processing power. Our outcome was about $63 million in revenue, 30% market share unit, around 378,000 in total units sold, 228 for soft and 150 for Solo. And we were ranked number 2 in share price index, volume market share, value market share, and net contribution. So for soft is primarily targeting the savers segment, meaning that it is ranked number 4 in value retail sales. Production plan for soft was a little bit too low as it was set for 190,000 while 228 was produced. 71% of consumers are aware of Soft, making it one of the highest awareness levels among offerings targeted at Savers. For Solo, it is a leader in shoppers with a share that has increased by 9.9% from period 2. Our production plan for Solo was a little bit too low as well at 125,000 when 150 were produced. 78% of shoppers are aware of Solo. Our takeaways are to increase Saver awareness, use brand maps, perceptual maps to determine ideal product characteristics by segment, and to review shopping habits in order to allocate commercial teams correctly.
In period 4, our quick product reflection, our price for Soft was low and our features for Solo were also low. We decided not to adjust those because they weren't pertinent to our target markets, but we did pursue another research project to further improve our products to the shoppers and savers. So our strategy for Soft, we targeted our savers 80% and our shoppers 20% and reduced our price $5 to $229. We ran 3 queries to determine the financial feasibility for an R&D project regarding our display and processing power. For Solo, we targeted shoppers 75% and our explorers by 25%. We did reduce our price by $20 to $300 to gain more market share, and we ran 2 queries to determine the financial feasibility for our processing power and our display R&D. The outcome from our efforts, we had about $94.5 million of revenue, earning a 39% market share of units, selling a total amount of units of 588,000. Our SPI rank was 1901, and we gained 2nd place in this round. So our takeaways, we're going to set perceptual marketing objectives centered around our display and processing power semantics. We decided to monitor our conjoint analysis as well to determine the consumer perceptions and ideal product values. In this round, Team Supreme, we saw a 49% increase in revenues from our last period. We retained our commercial team of 124 and just distributed them a little bit differently. We removed a lot of the team from the specialty stores and online stores and put the focus on the mass merchandisers where our target consumers were heavily shopping during that period. Product Soft was a leader in the Saver segment with a 67.7 unit share, an increase over last period of 6.6%. 72% of savers were aware of Soft, and we missed a sales opportunity of 22,000 due to insufficient production. Our second product, Solo, was a leader in the saver segment with a 55.9% unit share. More noticeable increase over the last period by 16.8%. 77% of shoppers were aware of Solo, and we missed a giant sales opportunity of 122,000 units due to insufficient production.
In round 5, we were pleased with the results. Supreme was ranked number 1 in share price index, volume market share, value market share, and in net contribution. And our revenue increased by 96.5%, while our earnings only increased by 72.5%. For Soft, we kept our target savers at 80% and shoppers at 20%. We also kept our price at $229 after improving our display and processing power. For Solo, shoppers were at 75% and explorers stayed at 25%. We also kept the price at $300. The big change for this round was increasing our commercial team by 100. The takeaways from this round were no pricing adjustments were needed because we met the target market ideals, monitoring conjoint analysis to determine consumer perceptions and ideal product values, and the market research should be between 10 and 15% of total advertising budget.
And after that great period 5 with great growth and momentum, increasing advertising, a larger commercial team, and a more than double increase in production. We had really ramped up the momentum, and we needed to keep that going. So we increased production even more, about 18% over period 5 sales, and supported it with a 50% increase in our commercial team. We also lowered the price of Soft by 5% to increase the appeal even more, because we had a feeling that Team Ramen would be launching a competing product based on how much money they spent in the previous period on research. We also figured, because of Soft's vast market share, that they might be launching a product coming after that specific product and targeting that part of the market. And so we just wanted to keep the appeal there. We knew we had the high awareness. We did not want to move too far off of our plan at all, but wanted to be prepared for this potential new entrant. On the flip side, we increased the price of Solo by about 2% because it was already competitively priced for shoppers. So we saw an opportunity to increase our profit and net contribution on that product. We had a great period, $242 million in revenue, 53% of the market share dollars, which we were very pleased with considering we have 2 lower priced products. Sold 1.4 million units and came in #1 in share price index, revenue, net contribution, and total net contribution. Increasing production, the last couple of rounds especially, was key to the success in these last few rounds, and we would keep that trend going if the simulation kept going. And growing our commercial team as rapidly as we did in the last 2 periods was a big part of period 6 success.
So what would we have done differently?
For period 1, we would have spent more time getting familiar with the program and the website.
In period 2, we would have focused our advertising exclusively on the 2 leading segments for each product without wasting small numbers on tertiary markets.
For period 3 for Soft, we would increase the performance. We would increase production plan because we were 190,000 units too low. It was estimated about 93,000 units were lost. We would sell more of the product to mass merchandisers. For Solo, we would increase production. We lost about 23,000 of potential units, and we would also increase advertising.
For period 4, we would have increased our production in anticipation for the higher sales post R&D and eliminating that loss of 144,000 units of potential sales.
And for period 5, our R&D marketing team and advertising strategy kept us #1 through the end of the stimulations.
Yeah, and based on those results, in period 6, if it would have continued, our next step would have been to do some research to consider entering the Modite market.
Some recommendations for the future would be to continue to invest in all available market research studies. The individual costs may seem large, but they are only a small portion of the big financial picture. We would stay on top of consumer preferences and adapt our product when it's financially feasible. And we would also keep an eye on market forecasts because we don't want to miss on opportunities or invest too much in shrinking segments.
That concludes our presentation. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.